this fever, fever getting me high. I got this fever, fever burning inside. I got this fever, fever getting me high. Let's have a great night on the dance floor. I'll be the cowboy on the wild horse. And if we don't drown when we're swimming ashore, I'll be the first in line to get us some more. Let's have a great night on the dance floor. I'll be the cowboy on the wild horse. And if we don't drown when we're swimming ashore, I'll be the first to get us some more. It's over, I'm circling these vouchers, got me praying and this hunger, I'm feeling something rotten. Last time I saw you, said what's up and push right through. Then I tried to catch you, but we're always on the move. And now it's sober, symptoms of the culture, and the night ain't getting younger. That's cause around the corner. Feeling kinda tilted and I'm pouring out the truth. Just fading out these talkers, cause now all I want is you. And saying, come over here, sit next to me. We can see where things go naturally. Just say the word and I'll part the sea. Just come over here and sit next to me. Ooh, 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 take you my attention, got your man outlined in chalk. It's a midnight intervention, got no plans to make it stop. Last time I saw you, said you wanna keep it light, but I'm here to tell you I'm not trying to change your mind. It's alright.
Inside Out! How we doing? How we doing? Good? Good? Hey, what'd we do for fall break? I'm sorry, you got something more important right now? Hold up, who are we talking to on the phone? Val? Hey, everybody say, hey, Val. Hey, Val. Val, where you at? Why aren't you here right now? Oh, you're grabbing a smoothie? Hey, I'll take the tropical, what's that basic one? Are you going to tropical smoothie? Okay, I'll take whatever basic one they have. Okay, cool. All right, appreciate it, Val. Bye. Thank you, appreciate it. Yo, if she actually pulls through with a smoothie, that'd be wild. Hey, what'd we do for fall break last week? What'd we do? Universal? Who went to Universal? Me. Did you come back with a disease? He goes, me. Sick, what else did we do? What else? Who went to 30A? Who went to 30A? Awesome. Well, we're glad you guys made it back, and we're glad that even though you had fall break and had every reason to not be here, you still chose to come and hang out with us. Two quick announcements. Hey, if you can hear me, snap once. If you can hear me, snap twice. This almost feels like the beginning of that like Addams Family thing. We're not gonna do that. We did something on Instagram the other day, which if you're not following us, follow us. We did a little homecoming giveaway. Is Caleb in the room? He's not here? Jake, I'm not giving you anything, bro. Well, Caleb is the winner of our homecoming giveaway. We were gonna come up and have him do something, but I guess not, yeah. He's not even here, we don't have to clap for him. So that's the first thing. Second, last thing is that I.O. weekend is coming up. I think we have a graphic for it. How many of y'all are signed up for I.O. weekend? Anybody? Thank you. Hey, if you can hear me, snap once. If you can hear me, snap twice. If you can hear me, do a little jig. All right, here's the thing, guys. You know how we have VR and we have Daytona? I.O. weekend. Those are the big three that you do not want to miss every year. And if you've got a football game that night, if you've got a cheer competition, doesn't matter. You can come join us whenever you're done because we're meeting locally at North Point Community Church I'm reading the room right now, and I don't think y'all want to hear me talk anymore. So we've got Adeline, we've got Garrison. Hey, really quick, important announcement. For the first time in a very long time, we have an InsideOut student leading worship tonight. Leah Brown. So, here's what we're gonna do. In order to get ready for this, we're gonna stretch it out. Everybody stretch it out a little bit. Come on. Because we gotta get hyped today. We don't want anybody getting hurt. Anybody get hurt. And let's do this.
All right, Inside Out, are you ready to dance? Come on. Let's go. You guys ready? Come on. Let's go. Give you my attention, all my focus, pushing off the limits. In this moment, I feel your spirit moving all around me. Come and have your way. Let's go. I'm looking at the dry bones. You're reviving this faith inside of my soul. You're igniting. You're calling me to levels that are higher. Come on, I can see your face. Let's go. When I set my eyes on you, what everything else
of your grace has covered me. Let's go. I'm gonna sing your praise. 1, 2, 3, hey! 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 Old chains don't have a hold on me, and this surrender feels heavenly. It goes beyond just a melody. Let's go. I'm gonna sing your praise, 'cause you are worthy and you will always be enough. Let's go. And I will never get tired of singing you. Never get tired of singing you, love. I never get tired, never get tired of singing you. I never get tired, never get tired of singing you, love. You took the old and you made it. What a joy to be loved by you. Nothing else could ever do. I'm gonna sing your praises. I'm gonna sing your praises. 'Cause you are worthy and you will always be enough. And I will never get tired of singing up. Never get tired of singing your love. I never get tired, never get tired of singing your love. I never get tired, I never get tired of singing your love. Hey, 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 hey. I never get tired, I never get tired. Get down, get down. Sing it. Never get tired, never get tired. I never get tired, I never get tired. You ready, ready?
Never get tired, never get tired.
'Cause you are worthy and you will always be enough. And I will never get tired of singing of your love. 'Cause you are worthy and you will always be enough. Here we go. I will never get tired of singing of. Never get tired of singing your love. 1, 2, 3, let it ride. Never get tired of singing. I never get tired, I never get tired of singing your love. Never get tired, never get tired of singing your love. I never get tired, never get tired of singing your love.
Sorry, guys. I gotta get some water. I feel like you guys are stronger than me because you don't have any water. And I am so out of breath. But, how we doing inside out? Doing okay? You guys are what, like a month into school now, right? Give or take. How are you feeling about school so far? Mixed feelings. Well, if we don't know each other, my name's Adeline, this is Garrison, and this is Leah. You guys know Leah. She's sick. You know what's crazy is that me and Leah were talking, and she said she's gone to Woodstock since kindergarten. Isn't that amazing? And I feel like today has been so full circle in many ways. This next song we're about to sing, it's actually a throwback North Point song. Yeah, it's called Sons and Daughters. And I kind of had a moment in the car while we were driving, and I kind of got emotional because I was like, I used to sing this song when I was in Inside Out. And here I am, like 5 years later, singing the same song, but kind of in a different place. And I was kind of thinking about who I was in high school and the questions I was asking myself and asking God. You know, I was like, it was lighthearted questions like, who am I gonna marry? And it's Clay. It's Clay. And, but then I was like, God, what am I gonna do for my job? Am I really gonna do music? Because I really love it. I really wanna do it full time. And here I am, and I'm standing with friends on stage that are chasing the same dream. And then I was asking really deep questions too. I was like, God, are you actually who you say you are? And what's really cool is there's a line in this song, and it says, "We're made in your reflection, your glory on display." And I think when we think of the word reflection, we think of like image, right? It's the first thing we think of, like looking in a mirror. But I think it's taken me like 5 years to kind of figure out, and literally figure out in the car this morning, that I think when he's saying that our glory on display, it's not how we look, it's not what we do, it's literally our lives. Because here I am 5 years later, and like the questions that I was asking in high school are being revealed to me. And the answers are maybe not what I thought, but they're so much better. And I know it's cliche to say, but it's true. God is gonna walk with you through high school, through college, or whatever you choose to do instead of college. He's gonna walk with you through the rest of your life. And I'm not standing here saying that I have it all figured out. I'm just saying that like, God is gonna be with you through it all. And so we're gonna sing this song, because even if you're confused today about what your future is gonna look like, He calls us sons and daughters, and for some reason, like, that's enough, you know? We have faith in God not because we have it all figured out, but because we don't. And so, during this song, maybe think about your future. Think about the questions that you're asking and invite God into those. Because when you do, you're gonna wake up in a couple years and it's gonna be celebratory because you've had someone go through it with you, right? So let's close our eyes. Get to that spot where you can speak to your future. And let's sing this together. From the start of creation, the God of heaven knew our names. scripture right now. Because it's going to be good, there's going to be blessings, and he's going to be with you every step of the way. Let's sing this out together. When the lies. Because when the lies speak louder than the truth, remind me that I belong to you. But I can't see past the dark night. Come on, remind us. Remind me you're always by my side. Sing it out, come on. 'Cause when the lies speak louder than the truth, they remind me that I belong to you. And when I can't see past the darkest night, remind me you're always by my side. You're by my side. Come on, sing this out. We are. 'Cause we are the sons, we are the daughters of God. No matter we're close to the Father's heart. And though we stumble, He will not let us fall. He will never forsake His own. We are the sons, we are the daughters of God. We are the sons and the daughters. We will never leave, and we trust you with our life. That's why we sing, 'cause if I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us through. If I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. Sing that out of your life. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us. Sing that out. If I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us through. If I know one thing, even if God is. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us through. We're gonna try one more thing tonight. We're all in Inside Out together right now, but what if we prayed for the kids who will come after us in the coming years? What if we prayed deliverance for them as well? Let's sing that out. Come on. Let's sing If I Know One Thing, because He's gonna deliver us. Come on. Sing it out. 'Cause if I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us through. If I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us. One more time. If I know one thing, sing that out. Our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us through. If I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. Our God is gonna see us through. So Jesus, let's not skip over the fact that you are a deliverer. God, I know you've been in my life, and I can't imagine the millions of ways that you're working in these students' lives as well. It's an honor to trust you with our lives, God, even if we don't know all the answers, we don't know where we're going, we don't know what we're gonna do for our jobs or where we're gonna go to school. There's a million questions. But through it all, we know that you will see us through every single one of them. So it's in your name we pray. Amen. We love you guys so much. Thanks for singing with us. Y'all can have a seat.
Inside Out. What's good? How we doing? Good? Good? Let's go. Come on. What's your name, bro? Kason. Nice to meet you, bro. I don't think we met. It's good to meet you. I remember you from Knockout. That was a tough day. Anyway, guys, so glad you're here. Like I said earlier, my name is Caleb. I have the pleasure of serving. Pleasure, that's not something a 24-year-old uses often. I'm happy that I get to be on staff at Inside Out here at Woodstock. And we've got a lot to get into today, so we're just gonna go right for it. We're in week 2 of a series called The Fight, where we're talking all about forgiveness. And if you were here last week, you know that Matt talked to us kind of about what it is and what it isn't and why. He told us that we can't call ourselves true Jesus followers if we can't call ourselves true Jesus followers if we refuse to forgive other people. Forgiveness is an integral piece of anything that a Jesus follower should do. And he landed on these 3 points. The first one is this: forgiveness is not about them, it's about you. Because the truth is, if forgiveness was always about them, then forgiveness wouldn't always be possible. Forgiveness is about what you choose, not what they do. He also said that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. There's a pastor by the name of Leonce Crump, which, wow, what a name, right? There's a pastor by the name of Leonce Crump, and he says reconciliation requires 2 defrauded parties to be made whole. Defrauded, like just think of the word fraud, like when something is missing, when there's an offense that makes somebody less than whole, reconciliation requires that piece to somehow be put back so that wholeness can be possible. But even though forgiveness has to come before reconciliation, reconciliation is not always required. And the last thing that he told us is that forgiveness is a process. Like forgiveness is not just saying, I'm sorry, or I forgive you, and then it's over. Because you're gonna remember the hurt. You're gonna remember what they did. And sometimes you're gonna have to choose every day for a really long time over and over and over again to say, I forgive you. So this is what Matt landed on, and I wanna continue this conversation. Before I do, I wanna say 2 things. The first is this: forgiveness is a way bigger, way more nuanced topic than 2 weeks of 25-minute messages can cover, okay? Like I totally get that regardless of what we've experienced, if we've experienced similar hurt, there are gonna be different intensities and frequencies with which we need to forgive other people. Some of us are gonna struggle to forgive more than others, and to be honest, we don't have time to get into it. Some of us need to learn how to forgive just as much as we need to learn how to apologize. So yeah, I'm preaching. But trust me when I say it took a lot of work to whittle down what I'm about to say to you, because I completely understand this is not all encompassing. But that's why we have small groups. That's our hope for small groups, is that you have a place, you have people that you can continue this conversation with as long as you need to. And our hope is that the conversation wouldn't just be on Sunday nights, that if you need it to, it can continue Monday through Sunday as well. So the first thing is, trust me, I know there's a lot more to this than what I'm about to say. And the second thing, if I'm being honest, this is not something I do all the time. And if I'm being extra honest, it's really hard to be somebody on a stage that's asking you to do something that I don't always do. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Even if I get this right, sometimes and not all the time, it feels kind of hypocritical to ask you to do it all the time. So I'm not gonna say this to you because this is gonna be the new expectation 24/7. I say this to you because I believe it's true and I want it to be true in my life. So now that we know that, here's where we're gonna head tonight. We were originally gonna talk about how to handle conflict, how to have hard conversations in the moment, because that's something that I think we could all use. But when I thought about it a little bit more, and I thought about what Matt talked with last week about what forgiveness is and why it's important, then I thought the next practical step would be to talk about how, right? The how of forgiveness. Because sometimes we give you guys the tools, but not the instructions. And if you stick with me on this analogy, sometimes we give you guys the metaphorical car and we say, okay, here's how you turn the car on, here's how you put it in drive, there's the gas, there's the brake, use the wheel to turn, and there you go. And now you can drive a car. And technically, that's true, right? But there's a lot more to it. And this is what it makes me realize. Having the tools without the instructions can create a bigger mess. When you know that that's how you drive a car, but you don't know how to take care of it, it's gonna break down on you. And even if you know everything about a car, you know how to keep it up and to make sure it's running smoothly, if you don't know the rules of the road, you have the potential to not only hurt other people, but yourself as well. And if we don't learn how to adjust to other people that don't follow the rules, then that's gonna cause traffic. And nobody likes traffic, right? When we don't know how to use something, misuse is inevitable. And that's true, honestly, for the entire Bible, but specifically forgiveness. When we hear live at peace with everyone, it's easy for us to think, well, okay, peace is kind of like agreement, and in order to agree with somebody, sometimes it's easier just to accept what they're doing, so that's how I live at peace, right? Or we think, when we hear that the Bible says forgive one another and we don't know that reconciliation isn't required, then we can stay in abusive cycles and relationships that we were never meant to. When we have the tools, but we don't have the instructions, we can create a bigger mess. And so I wanna look at a verse tonight that a guy by the name of Paul, he was one of the biggest, most well-known he is probably the biggest well-known first Christian to ever exist. And there was a time in his life where he was writing letters to churches in different cities, instructing them on how to be the church and instructing them on how to be good Christ followers. So this letter that he writes is to a group of people in Ephesus, and this is what he writes to the Ephesians. He says, get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another. Forgive each other, just as Christ and God forgave you. That sounds really sweet, right? But it's not always that sweet. And what Paul is saying, without explicitly saying this, is if you're not doing one of these things, like if you're not doing one of these sections, then you're automatically doing the other, right? Like if we have, because he starts by saying, get rid of bitterness, rage, anger, and you get rid of it by being kind, compassionate, forgiving, just as in Christ God forgave you. So if we have bitterness and rage and anger, if we're constantly fighting with people, if we're constantly talking bad about them behind their backs, if we have ill will wishes towards somebody, then we can't also say that we're being kind, compassionate, and forgiving. But this is good, right? Because now we know what we're fighting, and now we know how to fight it. So this is how we fight it. The first thing is we be kind. Y'all, this one sounds easy, but this one's hard, right? This one's hard when they don't believe what we believe. This one's hard when we find out that for weeks and months, they were something behind our backs that they weren't to our face. This is hard when they were supposed to protect us, but they abused us. This is hard when we feel like we're asking for just the simplest thing from them and they can't even give us that. Kindness, that's hard. The second thing Paul says that we do to fight all those negative feelings is we be compassionate. This one's easy to get mixed up. We think that compassion requires us to understand, right? Like we think, oh, You were drunk the other night, and that's why you said that dumb stuff to me. It's okay, I get drunk sometimes too. That's not what compassion is. Compassion is not understanding why somebody did what they did. Compassion is not even agreeing with why what they did. Compassion is giving sympathy to somebody whether they deserve it or not. Compassion says that regardless of what I'm struggling with, if I see you struggling, then I'm gonna take on that load and carry it with you. Compassion. Compassion says that regardless of the standard I have for myself, this is for the Christians in the room, regardless of the standard that I have for myself, that standard will not dictate the love that I give you. Compassion says that you get my sympathy in full, regardless, always. That's hard. The next thing Paul tells us to do is forgive each other. This one is gonna be the true test of if we're actually being kind and compassionate. And we're gonna be able to see if we're actually being kind and compassionate in the moment when forgiveness is required. Like if somebody comes up to me and is like, hey, yo, Caleb, you got a big nose. And I'm like, well, it's not stopping me from seeing your big forehead. Yeah, yo, I got burns for days, right? But like if in the moment an offense occurs and we're not able to forgive someone, then we can't say that we've got this kindness and compassion thing down. Which, hear me when I say, this is gonna take time. It's gonna start with maybe like, who knows, a week where first couple days we're figuring out how to be kind, then we're figuring out how to be compassionate, then we figure out how to forgive each other. But our hope for you is that eventually with practice, it whittles down to a point where in the moment, when somebody says to you, hey, you got a big nose, you're able to be like, yeah, I know, period, over, done. Like, and the offense is over. I don't know why I keep talking about my nose. I guess I think I have a big nose, but thank you. Cool, and I forgive you for that. So that's another thing that Paul says we can do. The final thing that he says is this: God forgave you. Why should you be kind? Why should you be compassionate? Why should you forgive each other? Guys, God forgave you. Every negative emotion you've ever felt in your entire life, pray it away. Just float on fairy dust for the rest of your life because God forgave you. And that's it. So we're gonna pray now and we're gonna say, no. Like that might sound the fluffiest out of anything we've heard, right? God forgave me. That's a cool saying, but how do I think that that's true? How do I believe that that's true? How do I act? How do I feel like that's true? How do I let that statement, allergies. How do I let that statement change the way that I act? These are some pretty hard things to do. But what we can see in it, right, is that it all starts with God's forgiveness towards us. Like if those are the hows, if the be kind, compassionate, forgive each other are the how, and the God forgave us is the why, then this is what we need to know. You can't give true forgiveness until you know you have received true forgiveness. And this might sound a little cliche, but think about it. If my girlfriend comes up to me and she's like, hey, can I have your sweatshirt? And I feel like I'm running out of sweatshirts, I'm not gonna give her my sweatshirt. I'm a good boyfriend, so I'll give her my sweatshirt, don't worry. But what we perceive we have dictates what we're willing to give. You can't give true forgiveness until you know you've received true forgiveness. So if we know that, if we know forgiveness is a process, if we've said all of these things that may have just kind of bounced off of you and it's hard to retain any of this, here's one thing that I just want us to know for tonight. Forgiveness requires faith. And that sounds, I know, it sounds cheesy and it sounds churchy, but this is why Matt said forgiveness is not about them, it's about you. It's about your level of faith, not the faith that they actually mean that they're sorry, not the faith that they're never gonna do it again, not even the faith that you are strong enough to forgive them on your own. Faith that what God did for you is bigger than what they did to you. I'm gonna say that again. Faith that what God did for you dictates how you respond more than what they did to you. I just said a whole lot of words right now. So we're gonna get to the how. Like if we know that we're fighting the bitterness and the rage and the slander and the fighting and all this stuff, and we fight it with this checklist of like, be kind, compassionate, forgive each other, God forgave you. The way we can forgive each other, right, is we flip this checklist in reverse. Ooh, y'all see how that was? Anyway, be kind, why? Thanks, cool. It wasn't me. Be kind, why? Be compassionate, why? Forgive people, why? Because God forgave you. Have any of y'all ever seen those soldier coming home videos? Some of y'all just straight frowned when I said that. Y'all, I don't, it's not like I watch those to cry, but I've seen a couple in my life. And you know the thing that's consistent throughout all of them? It's not the, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. It's not that song, right? The thing that's consistent throughout all of them is not, y'all know that song is in every single one of those, and it doesn't matter how cheesy it is, it still just like tears you up, right? The thing that's consistent in all of those videos is not how the mom responds, whether she just sits there crying and it's like, hey, are you actually gonna get up and hug your son? Or like the mom that goes and runs around the house, or the brother that just runs and literally jumps and bear hugs the person. The thing that's consistent throughout all of them is the anticipation. That regardless of how the person comes home, whether they come home 3 years later, whether they come home 30 pounds heavier, whether they come, y'all, food is good and real and it's a struggle. Whether they come home missing a limb, whether they come home and then they're gonna leave again in 6 months. The thing that's consistent through all of them is the anticipation. That's what God's forgiveness is for you. It does not matter what you did last night. It doesn't matter what you do tonight when you leave. It doesn't matter when you do this weekend. I know some of y'all got homecoming up. Homecoming coming up. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Yes, if we want to live our best possible life, that thing that Matt always talks about, it requires us to live a certain way. But God's forgiveness is not dependent on if you apologize. It's dependent on when. Like when will you apologize? It's not if you come to him a certain way. It's just, will you come to him? I heard somebody put it like this: God's forgiveness process, that process that we want to be able to whittle down from happening maybe in a week to a moment, it took God 33 years to be able to do that. Probably like, that's such a specific number. Why? Jesus' life was God's forgiveness process. Jesus had to come, live a perfect life, die, come back from the dead in order for God in a moment to be able to forgive us. Why do I say that? Some of you are dealing with 14 to 18 years of hurt, and you expect yourself to forgive yourself in 14 to 18 minutes. That's not possible. It's not possible. We want it, but it's not possible. The good thing, though, is regardless of how long it takes us to forgive, regardless of how long it takes us to perfect or even just get good at our forgiveness process, whether it applies to us or others, God's forgiveness process is done. He's just anticipating and waiting. It's not a matter of how you come to him. It's just when. So that's the first thing. God forgave you. The second thing, forgive each other. Sorry, we can go back to that previous slide. I know I spent a long time on that first point. Forgive each other. If we break down the word forgive, for means coming earlier. Forgiveness is possible when you're preparing now to do it. A lot of us want to think like, yo, well, they haven't even apologized and they did that thing 6 months ago, or I know they're probably going to do it again coming up. But are we even ready to forgive them? Coming before, coming previously means we have to prepare now to be able to give compassion. It starts now. How do we prepare? We be compassionate. Compassion, again, is not understanding why somebody did what they did to you. It's not agreeing with what they did to you or that it's okay. It's saying, hey, you don't deserve my sympathy, but it's yours anyway. Why? Because I have sympathy that I don't deserve. That debt that you owed me, you hurt me, and rightfully so. If justice is going to be served, then you deserve to go through this. I'm just gonna cancel that debt. That's hard, but that's what compassion calls us to. And the final thing, be kind. Guys, this takes a lot of time. Kindness takes a lot of time, especially when we have to show kindness to somebody who's not like us. But when we learn to do these things, we're truly able to forgive. So this is the how and the why. What's one step that you guys can take tonight? What's one thing that you guys can do tonight to prepare to forgive? It's this: apologize. Isn't it wild that our ability to receive forgiveness first relies on our ability to ask for it? That anticipation God has, that readiness that he has to give you forgiveness, it can't be yours. You can't receive it until you ask for it, until you say, hey, God, I'm sorry. And I used to do this all the time. I get it mixed up where I come to God and I'm like, God, Father Jesus, I'm not gonna do another wacky prayer again. Bring it in. God, I'm so sorry that I did that thing. I never meant to hurt her. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go read my Bible every day, and then I'm gonna pray, and I'm gonna go to church, and I'm gonna raise my hands the highest, and I'm gonna start a Bible study, and then I'm gonna go be a missionary. And guys, that's not what an apology requires. The prerequisite to God's forgiveness is not that you'll never do it again. He knows what you did. He knows what you're going to do. He knows that you apologized you apologized for it, and you still might do it again. Doesn't matter. He just wants you. He just wants you. He wants you to keep trying. If you want to live a better life, if you want to experience better life here on this earth, that requires you to do some things. But God's forgiveness does not depend on what you do or what you say you will do, or if you change your ways. You just have to apologize. That's where forgiveness starts. Receiving God's forgiveness starts with us first apologizing. And that's scary because some of us are too afraid to even voice what we actually did wrong. Some of us are afraid that we'll never be able to come back from our biggest mistake. Like, yo, Caleb, if you only knew what I did. Heck, if y'all only knew what I did. Thank God forgiveness is not relying on us. Thank God that his forgiveness is not relying on us. Some of us, we're like, I can't stop what I'm doing, God. Okay, just keep trying. Just keep coming back to me. Just apologize. That's all he wants from us. So, before we head off to small group, I want to send you all off with a couple questions. I was going to do a Q&A, but I am not ready to handle things as well as Matt handles them. So I'm just going to give you all some questions. But the first thing I want you to do is not a question. It's part of this apologize thing. It's this: take time to privately apologize. For you, that may look like hanging out in here for 2 more seconds when we dismiss and just praying and saying, God, I don't know if I'm talking to these walls or these chairs. I don't know if I'm just closing my eyes for no reason whatsoever. But if you can hear me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I hurt her. I'm sorry that I hurt him. I'm sorry that I did that to my parents. I'm sorry that I talked about them that way. I'm just sorry. Take time on your own to apologize. For those of you who've got that down when it comes to you and God, take time to privately apologize to the people in your life. Apologies don't have to be this big spectacle in front of your small group where you stand up and you're like, well, the other day I did this thing that I shouldn't have done, and I'm sorry, so-and-so. Nah, that's not the point. Do it privately, because it's not between you and everyone else. It's between you and God and you and them. Take time to privately apologize. Then these are the 2 questions I want you all to talk about. What does forgiveness look like in your family? Because I think your family might be the biggest, if we understand this, it might show us the biggest roadblock that we have to believing that forgiveness, receiving true forgiveness is possible. Because our family, we're obviously constantly around them. They're gonna define for us what forgiveness looks like. So talk in your small groups, what does forgiveness look like in your family? And then have some fun with this one. What would the perfect version of being forgiven look like for you? What would the perfect version of forgiveness in your life look like? It's possible. Maybe not with the people around you, because we're imperfect human beings, but that dream of perfect forgiveness, talk about it, voice it, and then believe that that's what God has for you. So talk about these questions, ask more questions, because again, I know this is not the whole conversation, this is just a part of it. Ask your questions, look for answers, come to me, let's find the answers together. Keep the conversation going as long as you need to, and let's figure out forgiveness. Let's pray. God, thank you. Thank you for the things you give us before we even ask for it. Thank you for the times that we've asked for things from you. And then even when we forget that we asked for it, you still give it to us anyway. God, I'm tired of being bitter and angry and fighting and talking bad all the time. God, I'm tired of it in my life. I'm tired of hearing that exists in our students' lives. Give us the boldness to come before you and just apologize. Give us the boldness to not race to the finish line of this race, to sprint to the finish line of this race. Give us the boldness to just take one step tonight. To open our hands and say, God, I give up control. I can't do this on my own. I need you. And then God, would you show yourself? Jesus, would you show yourself in abundance to our students so that they know that when they come to you and apologize, you're right there. Don't leave any question that this may not be true or possible. God, erase all fear and doubt around forgiveness. Show yourself. We're ready for you. I pray this in your name. Amen. We love y'all. Don't forget to sign up for IO Weekend. We will see you next week. Get out of here. Love y'all.